Alrighty, let's get started. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Integrating Nutrition into Core Subjects. My name is Ellen Dillon. I am the Senior Field Manager of School Breakfast Programs at Action for Healthy Kids. I'm joined today by my colleague and friend, Ann Kish. She is the Minnesota State Coordinator, who is also a registered dietitian, and will share her experiences in incorporating nutrition across the school and in a variety of subjects. Before we get started, we want to know a little bit more about who you are. So we're going to launch a quick poll. We want to know, what is your role in your school? Got about half have voted. All right, it looks like most of us are not in this list of options, and so we have a few that are part of child nutrition services, and then PE teachers, health teachers, and classroom teachers. All righty. Thank you for sharing. So just some quick logistics to make sure everyone is aware of how the webinar will operate. And you are muted by default, so that if there's background noise, if you're in a school or in an office where there's noise, don't worry about it. You are muted by default. You can join us by either calling in or listening on the speakers on your phone. You can also submit your questions, and we will do our best to answer them throughout the webinar or at the end, or if we can't get to it because this is a really quick webinar, it's only 30 minutes, we will follow up via email. The call is being recorded, as I noted, and the link to the recording and handouts that are mentioned in today's call will be sent out following the call, so you can expect them within 2 to 3 business days. All right, I want to give you a little bit of information as to who Action for Healthy Kids is as we get started. Most of you may know us because you've either been on some of our other webinars that we've done as part of this wellness webinar series. It's hosted once a month on Wednesdays. But Action for Healthy Kids fights childhood obesity, undernourishment, and physical inactivity by helping schools become healthier places. We're moms, dads, teachers, students, school and community leaders, and school wellness experts who have banded together to create healthier learning environments for our children. We believe that everyone has a part to play in ending the nation's childhood obesity epidemic. Our programs, tools, and resources make that possible. We were founded in 2002 by former Surgeon General David Thatcher. Today, we have more than 130,000 members. We also partner with dozens of professional associations, government agencies, and corporations at the national and local level. The Learning Connection is a great resource from Action for Healthy Kids to help you make the connection between healthy eating, physical activity, and learning. It's an easy-to-read school report that summarizes the most recent research proving that healthy kids are better learners. Research shows that healthy eating has a positive impact on academic achievement. It leads to more focused classroom behaviors like concentration and memory, and it's related to improved mathematics, reading, and writing test scores. I want to tell you a little bit more about Game 1. Game 1 we'll be talking about later, as where some of the activities are referenced, and you can find additional resources. But activities, Action for Healthy Kids, our signature program is Game 1. This program is a free online resource that you can use and tailor to your school's own particular needs. Game 1 is a program that helps schools practice good nutrition and physical activity habits with the ultimate goal of getting your school nationally recognized as a health-promoting school. Game 1 is organized into 6 steps to guide your school in creating sound, sustainable school wellness frameworks. Step 1 is gathering your team, focuses on gathering a school health team. Step 2, assess and track progress, focuses on completing an assessment like the School Health Index to determine your strengths and areas of opportunity. Step 3, create and implement an action plan. focuses on developing an action plan in order to have a clear roadmap for your school wellness initiative. Step 4, find activities, include more than 80 fun and easy to implement activity ideas that focus on 2 categories, eating better and moving more. These activities are organized by rooms within the school building, as you can see here on the left. It's easy to search for ideas. So if you're thinking about something that you're looking for the classroom or in the gym or on the playground, you can go and find both eating activities and moving more activities in those rooms. And step 5, engage families and community, focuses on ideas for engaging parents, community organizations, and other volunteers. And finally, in step 6, the goal is to help you receive recognition and focuses on getting your school nationally recognized as a health promoting school. Schools can use Game On by going through each of the 6 steps, or just use the Game On for the ideas, resources, and best practices found in step 4. This is today's webinar focusing on integrating nutrition education into core subjects. Today, what we want you to be thinking about is, what do you think about when you think about traditional classrooms or learning environments? What stands out? What we often remember from classrooms are subjects are taught in silos. Students sit down for reading and writing. They learn science and math at another time and from a specific teacher who teaches that specific subject. Students close one book and open another depending on the topic, and learning is segmented. Today, though, schools and teachers realize how important integration of topics are for student learning, and learning about nutrition doesn't have to just take place in the cafeteria or in a health-only class. Nutrition education is important and helps to create authentic learning experiences for children and helps them learn about healthy eating too. We're going to launch another quick poll. We want to know, does your school have a dedicated curriculum for nutrition education? It looks like almost everyone has voted. So as of those who have voted, it looks like about half are not sure if there's a dedicated nutrition education curriculum being used in your schools. The rest are saying mostly no, and then there are a few yeses. So that means that there's a lot of opportunity to incorporate nutrition education across multiple subjects, as well as others who might not be the normal teachers of the subject, being able to successfully teach and integrate into other subjects too. So one of the biggest things to understand around nutrition education is that there are specific objectives. Nutrition education in the classroom is intended to accomplish 3 important objectives. This is coming from the National Center for Educational Statistics. It's designed to convey information and facts about nutrition, so students are more knowledgeable about healthy eating practices. It's also designed to change unhealthy attitudes, so students have the motivation and interest to make those behavioral changes to establish healthy eating practices. And it's designed to teach positive skills, so students have all the tools to accomplish their nutritional goals. So if you aren't an expert in nutrition, and it doesn't sound like everyone that's on the call today is, we don't want you to become one. We just want you to think about how you can engage those who are experts, and then how can you engage a variety of resources to help make the instruction more valuable in your classrooms, as well as across multiple core subjects too. Let's do one more quick poll. So we want to know a little bit more about what's going on in your school. Who's teaching nutrition education at your school? Does your school have a specific teacher that teaches it? Like a health teacher maybe, or a PE teacher, or someone else that's dedicated to just instructing on nutrition education. Alrighty. So for the most part, it looks like more than half of you do not have someone that's dedicated to nutrition education at your school. Others aren't quite sure, and then about almost 20% say yes. Say yes, that you do have someone that is instructing on nutrition education, which is great. So you're on today's webinar, you're interested in finding out how you can incorporate nutrition education. We've talked about some of the reasons we want to incorporate it, some of the goals and objectives. Who can support you? So we want to know that there are others in your school building that might have more expertise around nutrition than you that can also provide you with support. Your school nurse, your school nutrition professionals in your school building and your district can support. We know that parents have expertise in your, whether they be part of your PTA or part of your school, your parents in your classroom or parents that you know of that's in the school building that also might have skills related to nutrition that can support you. Other outside organizations can also support, whether they be the master gardening group in your community or a club in your community, local chefs, dietitians. There are plenty who can help you when it comes to providing you with some additional support. However, communication is the key. And as we know in curriculum, whether you are teaching a subject on world travel or world locations, the more you can incorporate others and others in your planning to help be able to carry it into other topics, other subjects, it takes communication. So really think about what topics you could incorporate and then start planning around it. Can you incorporate it with part of your art curriculum? Is there something going on in the cafeteria that can also be moved into the classroom? Helping to provide those resources can allow for others to jump on board with your topics that you want to engage around. But school health teams, if you're the school health team at your school, they can be great people to engage around this topic and how to incorporate more nutrition education into those classrooms. And then also, as we discussed previously, engaging those from the previous page to discuss and brainstorm around. So today what we're going to be doing is spending a little bit more time talking about how you can incorporate nutrition throughout the school and other areas of the school building besides a cafeteria or besides maybe a health class. Anne will be sharing some of her experiences in Minnesota and working with schools around Minnesota through some of the grant programming that we have at Action for Healthy Kids and the work that she's done over the years as a dietitian. So you've decided you want to incorporate more nutrition education into your classroom and into other areas of the school. How are you going to do that? Well, you can do that in a couple different ways. You can do it through online learning. You can utilize nutrition education games so that when students have that free time and computer time, they can use that opportunity to build on those skills or practice skills through some of these fun nutritional games. You can also integrate nutrition education into morning announcements, bulletin boards, and in other areas of the school. As you think about what goes on in your school, maybe the only areas where food is really referenced is in the cafeteria. But it's a great idea to be able to incorporate that. With, as you can see here in these pictures, we've got that on a health suite, so the school nurse is involved. We can also have it as part of, it could be part of an art class, part of my plate. This bulletin board here, it could be out in the hallway where all students see it, not just in one certain classroom. And you can utilize what already is happening at your school. So let's say you're doing breakfast in the classroom at your school. You can use that time for nutrition education. Here in this picture here, we can see that a school has been practicing with My Plate and using it as part of both lunch success and breakfast success. And they even turned their My Plate or My Tray, in this case, into a laminated breakfast in the classroom board to help keep their desk clean and keep the learning going throughout the day. So, you know, thinking about what you're already doing in your classroom and how you can incorporate it really helps to make it more valuable. One of the main ways that schools are incorporating nutrition is by the use of school gardens. Anne's going to be sharing with us throughout today's webinar some experiences that she's had, and some of the pictures that we see today are from some grant-funded schools that she's worked with. But there are lots of ways that school gardens support academics and can be utilized in math and science classes as well as other classes. But some of the things that we do know is that school gardens also support science achievement scores. So when we're, you know, debating should we incorporate a school garden or not, you know, really being able to think about what we are hoping to accomplish and the ideas around STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and math, this is one of the things that can really help support those programming. It can help older students study certain aspects of gardening, whether it be plants and insects, nutrition, weather, as well as other advanced topics, and then also younger students with the care of the plants and other aspects related to science in this page here. Anne, so in your experiences, what have you seen in schools related to science and school gardens?
Yeah, thanks, Ellen. You know, it's been really fun to work with schools here in Minnesota and see what kind of things that they've come up with. And the first thing kind of just you already mentioned, but is being really creative on how you can incorporate your school garden in with your curriculum. And some of the things that I've seen in our state are one of the first schools that I worked with actually had a contest for the students to design how the garden beds were going to be laid out. So they got to submit, you know, the drawings and the measurements of what the design of the garden was going to be, and then they selected one, and then the winning design was actually, you know, put together. So the students had to measure the boards, and so, you know, using a measuring tape and you know, sawing it at correct measurements and putting it together, and then, you know, on the last slide everything was neat and all in a row. But I think in that school they kind of had it scattered, so they had to, you know, lay it out. So it was really fun to see using those skills, again, kind of around the science and math. And then also with the design, you know, the artistic side of designing a garden. So I thought that was really fun. And I've seen just a lot of other ways that schools have used school gardens, and, you know, not always necessarily the traditional outside schoolyard garden, but also in their classrooms. So whether it's a tower garden or just planting specific seeds. And then just talking about, you know, we're growing this plant, what's going to come out of it, what kind of vegetables are we going to get, you know, what would, you know, what ways could we use the vegetables. But with a lot of the schools that I've worked with, especially like those pictured with larger school gardening beds, you know, they actually take the produce and, you know, get to see what happens with the produce. So whether it gets thrown into a school meal, I've seen a lot of use of herbs that are dried, so they can be used here in Minnesota. We do not have year-round gardening, so the herbs get dried and then get used throughout the winter, and then highlighted as a reminder to the students, remember these came from our garden, and you know, how the benefits of consuming them. And then also community engagement. I have just heard from a school that just completed their midterm report that they used their garden produce to go over to a local food shelf. So I thought that was really another unique way. And some schools I work with also have, you know, school food shelves on site, but this one actually went to the community. So kind of incorporating, you know, the social aspects of being a good citizen, and incorporating to support the community.
Great, thanks, Anne. So there's lots of other ways that school garden support can be supported in other curriculum, in other classrooms. Well, it's not just a science and math experiment. It's something that can also be incorporated into language arts, getting students to be writing about it. So, we saw some older students. It can be in the middle schools, it can be in high schools. Here we see it with elementary schools where students are journaling as they're working. So it could be about capturing what's happening and what the changes that take place, documenting, really being able to write to perform a task, whether it be how to grow something or how to start a garden, and then also creative writing assignments. We know that there are lots of literature about gardens, about insects, about fruits, and so being able to take those and create their own writing assignments is a great idea too. And then we know being able to set up books and reading corners to support additional opportunities for exploring and learning about both in the nonfiction and fiction genres will also support students' learning. So really being able to take one topic and move it across multiple core subjects is really important. And it's done all the time in schools today. And now it's just incorporating nutrition education as part of it is one way of doing it, is through school gardens. And then another way that we've talked about is also through, another subject is utilized in school gardens and social studies. I think Anne was telling me earlier about a school and their use of the food in part of a social service project that they were doing. Anne, do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, like I said, there's been just kind of a few different incidences that I've learned about this school year. Some of them where they're just actually harvesting the produce and taking them over to a local food shelf. And then we have some schools that actually are community schools that have food shelves inside of the school themselves, where parents can, when they're stopping to pick up the kids, can actually go to the food shelf and get produce. And then another unique idea is a school, the kids just harvested the produce and then had them out on carts right by the buses. And then students and then parents also could grab things and take it home at the end of the school day that came from the garden, which I thought that was really unique.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So other ways that you can incorporate nutrition education is through the use of healthy snacks and taste tests. Again, this is utilizing the communication between you and your child nutrition staff and classroom teachers, but you can be incorporating what's happening in the cafeteria into the school day too. And also incorporating that into making your healthy school celebrations by choosing healthy foods, and those that are part of the taste test can go into those programs as well. Anne was also involved in a Rethink Your Drink initiative. Anne, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, this was one of the schools I worked with this year, and they were having, it was a community-wide event, but it was during the school day, and the students rotated through on different time frames. But this is a community school, and it was kind of more of an Earth Day theme, or being good to the earth. And they said, they really wanted me to do something around, how, it could be sustainable to protect the earth. And so even though I was doing it on sugar sweetened beverages, and we're educating the students about the sugar content and how many teaspoons were in, and you can see kind of my hand is on a water bottle infuser. And I really wanted to talk to the students about, instead of buying bottles of pop or even bottles of water, is to get a water bottle infuser and use that to flavor your beverages and, the nutrition benefits. So it was really fun to kind of fit into the theme, and the kids were excited to hear what I had to say.
So our vision is really to help students make those healthy choices, and finding those ways to make that happen throughout the school day is a key of nutrition education, as well as nutrition promotion in your school. And you can find these resources throughout that we've referenced today in our Game On activities. So if you go to that school building, you can find those activities. And here's just an example of some of the different eating better activities that you can find on our website. But one of the keys, and maybe Anne, you can just jump in here about teen nutrition. Can you share a little bit about some of the teen nutrition resources and how teen nutrition can support schools?
Yeah, sure. Now I know that we're running short on time, but I'll just briefly say that, anytime that you're looking for supportive material to do nutrition ed is to start out with teen nutrition, because all you have to do, and I know that Ellen will include the link in the follow-up, is register your school as a teen nutrition school, and then you can order any of the supplies that you want, whether it's posters, they've got some games and booklets with ideas. It's just really the kind of the go-to or starting point to support the nutrition ed, especially with the MyPlate branding.
Yeah. So some of you may already know about teen nutrition. Maybe your school is participating. It's a program run by the United States Department of Agriculture that gives all of these resources are free. All it requires is you to sign up. So if you're not sure if your school is participating, you might want to talk to those in your child nutrition in your cafeteria to see if you're participating. And if you're not, you can just sign up and receive order a variety of different items. And just a quick note, for those that are teaching nutrition education, a best practice is to make sure that your teaching aligns with MyPlate, not the food pyramid or other models that you might know of. We're happy to help you find the resources and materials for MyPlate if needed.
Ellen, I just want to jump in. When you do go online, you can just search your school and you'll find out if you're registered or not. So it'll kind of tell you who the point person is, and sometimes you'll find, oh, that's changed, and you can make a quick update and get right back up to speed.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. So here are a variety of other local and state level resources that you might have. University extension offices are a great resource. Those that are involved in family, career, and community, FCCLA, that is in a high school club, but there are those that are in organizations around adult organizations, as well as teenage leaders, as well as Future Farmers of America, Farm to School, your child nutrition, your school nurses. So tap into your resources that you have available to you. I know Anne does need to jump off, so if there are anyone that has any questions, please get those in too. As you can see here, Anne mentioned earlier about Tower Gardens, and here is a school that's implementing Tower Gardens. I think it's one in Pennsylvania, as a matter of fact. And earlier we mentioned our goal is to help schools become nationally recognized. We want to help schools become certified or recognized as health promoting through the Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge Smarter Lunchroom Initiative. It is designed to be a 4-year certification, and there are a variety of award levels. And by promoting and providing nutrition education that supports the health promoting aspect of Healthier U.S. Schools Challenge, and also helps your school to become more connected with students and support the learning connection. So let's just do a quick check on questions. Thanks, Ellen. It looks like Ellen also agreed that health educators, dietitians from the county health department extension offices can also provide nutrition education in schools. Thank you for sharing that. And if you have any other questions, you can contact us at trainings@actionforhealthykids.org. I will be following up with some of the links that we've provided here today, but you can find activities and some fun stories and options to incorporate in your classrooms through Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest. So if you're not already following us, we encourage you to click on one of those and follow us and incorporate our social media in your planning. All right, we are wrapped up right on time. Thank you very much and have a great day.